Hello everybody, I'm Dr. Stephen Barry. Welcome back to another video vignette from Insulin IQ. With me today is Carlie Wendell. She is a coach for Insulin IQ. Thanks for being here today.
Sure.
Appreciate you being here and your time. She is very, very good at helping people transition from the lifestyle that has helped them not be healthy into a lifestyle that's helping them be healthy. How are you enjoying your job?
I love it. It's so great to see people make changes in their lives that really do make a big difference in how they feel and energy levels and avoiding disease. It's great.
Wonderful. She does a great job, and I can tell you love your job because my patients come back and rave about you.
Good.
And they're very excited to work with you. Today I want to talk about something that might be a little esoteric for a lot of people, but does play a role in our ability to keep our insulin down and to avoid the diseases that come from insulin resistance. I want to talk to you today about cortisol. Can you tell me what is cortisol?
Yeah, cortisol is a hormone that our bodies release as our bodies go through stressful experiences, whether that's a health thing that's happening inside of us, an infection or a disease, or a stressful situation.
Yeah, and cortisol is something that we don't think much of until that system isn't working correctly. Cortisol is basically a steroid, and our body needs this to function. Sometimes, as bodies can do, things can get out of balance. So when would cortisol not be functioning normally in the body? And what conditions would precipitate cortisol being released in amounts that would affect our health?
Yeah, I think most of us go through daily highs and lows of cortisol. We have stressful lives that we live, and often we don't know how to get those stress hormones down. They stay at these elevated levels because we live such stressful lives, and maybe we're not getting enough sleep, we're not eating properly, those kind of things that will affect our cortisol and keep it elevated. And when that happens, when cortisol stays elevated, you see insulin resistance as a problem because glucose has to be part of the process when our body uses cortisol. It will be elevated. If you think about, you're escaping a stressful situation, your body's going to produce some glucose so that you have enough energy to get through that stressful time.
All right, so our body can produce this in response to stressful situations, and when the cortisol level is high for a sustained period of time, it actually increases our insulin resistance. Is that right?
It does.
Okay, and as a result of that, if our insulin is high for a long enough period of time, we can start our bodies can start manifesting the effects of insulin resistance.
Yes.
Well, I know in medicine we have the end result of high cortisol is something called Cushing's syndrome. And it's a condition where the glands that make this steroid cortisol that sit right above our kidneys, called our adrenal glands, secrete this in super high amounts, and people have all kinds of problems as a result of it. Their blood pressure goes up, they feel horrible, their skin thins out, and it actually makes these amazingly large stretch marks called striae, and they actually get a lump on the back of their neck. We call it affectionately a buffalo hump. I'm sure people love hearing that about their bodies. That's the far end result of that. But people that have high levels of stress in their lives, and stress is a word we use often, and it's ironic that in our day and age we have such stressful lives, because to do my laundry I just have to push a button, and to do my dishes I push a button. And I even have a heated steering wheel on my wife's car. And it's amazing, we have so much stress. What are some things that you recommend that we can do to see if we have excess stress in our life, or to see how we can lower the stress in our life so that we don't have this natural hormone cortisol coursing through us at elevated levels that's going to get in the way of us being healthy with low insulin resistance?
Sure. I would say, first of all, the number one key if we're looking at long-term health is making sure our nutrition is on point. That is going to have a lot more effect on long-term health than learning how to meditate or deep breathe. So nutrition should be first, the first thing that we look at and kind of put together and make sure that's on spot.
So putting the right fuel in our bodies is probably the first place to start, so that we can handle the stress of our day.
Right, and then stress and sleep both are very important when it comes to just keeping our insulin low. and trying to avoid insulin resistant. That's kind of next level, I would say.
So if I'm not sleeping enough, I actually will have higher cortisol levels in my body. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, you'll actually continue with the insulin resistance. Your body really needs those hours at night to regulate insulin, to do a lot of repairing for our systems. And that's a really important key to long-term health, I would say, is getting enough sleep, which is different for everyone.
Right. The average adult in America gets around 6 hours or maybe a little less. How do you feel about that?
Well, it's interesting. I think some of the most recent studies are showing that everyone needs a different amount of sleep, whether there's some people who have a genetic mutation and they only need 5 hours of sleep. I think most of us know probably instinctually what our optimal level of sleep is, and we know
Right.
if we're not functioning well, if we need to be napping, if we kind of hit a lull in the afternoon and we can't function after that, we probably aren't getting enough.
Or if the first thing I do in the morning is reach for a caffeinated beverage about this size to wake me up.
That's a good sign you need a little bit more sleep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that and appreciate your expertise in being here with us
Sure.
today.
Thank you.